I have the pleasure to introduce the program manager that works for me and has been behind the scenes much today, but very much in the lead as this project has gotten to this point over the last 14 months or so. Stephanie Christopher is, as I said, the program manager for the Patient-Centered Benefit Risk Project, and she's going to lead the next session. Stephanie?
All right, thank you. And a quick note to our friends who are watching us online. Apologies, but we had some problems with getting questions during our morning sessions, but we've got it all straightened out now. So please send us your questions, and we'll try and get those to our session moderators for our afternoon sessions. So as the program manager for MDIC's Patient-Centered Benefit Risk Project, I've had a lot of opportunities to tell people about the work we're doing. I say, we're looking to build tools and build a framework for how we integrate the patient perspective into, how medical devices are evaluated. But as a young adult, I also have the opportunity to try and explain what it is I do to my family. And I try to explain what I do to my grandma. And my grandma says, well, that's nice. And she's maybe a little surprised that I spend all of my time working on this project. Not that she doesn't think it's a worthwhile thing. No, she thinks this is a great thing. She kind of just thinks that that's what we were doing the whole time. And I get that reaction a lot. When I tell people we're looking to bring ways to bring the patient perspective into how we evaluate medical devices, they say, well, sure, that's a great idea. Why haven't we been doing that? I don't have necessarily an answer for that. I think part of it is it comes from people outside of this room. People don't necessarily think about how medical devices get from being an invention in some doctor's lab or in their garage, where a lot of medical devices start, to how they get to doctors' offices. People don't think about that process. Making sure we're on the right slide. They maybe have a vague idea that the FDA is involved somehow. They maybe have an idea that they're looking at safety, that they're looking at whether it works, but they don't really spend a lot of time thinking about how that happens. Of course, there are groups of patients that spend a lot of time thinking about medical technology, and they think a lot about how these devices get from concept to the medical office. And in recent years, the patient community has found their voice, and their voice can no longer be ignored. Patient groups have organized action groups, they've lobbied Congress, they've gone to medical societies, pharmaceutical companies, and yes, even medical device companies. They've sought to have their voice heard. They want doctors, researchers, and medical innovators to understand their experience with the disease. And they've not just asked that their voice be heard, they've demanded it. Which brings us back to our framework report. What does this report ultimately mean for patients? I mean, we have patients in the title. What does it ultimately mean for all of us? Because at some point, we're all going to be a patient, or we're going to be the family member of a patient. So this report not just has impact for our professional lives, but it has an impact to our personal lives as well. What it means is that we now have a voice in how these products get reviewed. When a reviewer is looking at a new technology, in a way, we'll all be in the room with them. And we aren't just talking about a focus group with a couple of patients where we talk about whether you like your device to be gray or blue. We're talking about a meaningful voice in this process. MDIC's mission is to advance regulatory science in order to accelerate access to cutting-edge medical technology. We do this by advancing and improving methods and approaches used to review new medical technology. This framework demonstrates what's possible when we gather together stakeholders from industry, from regulatory agencies, from academia, and from patient groups. And we say, let's figure out how to do this. Let's figure out how to bring the patient voice into this process. Our panel this afternoon will discuss the implications of this framework report for patient groups. And we've had a terrific opportunity to work with a number of patient groups during this project. So we'll talk about what this means for patient groups and how can patient groups use this information that we've published today.